Pogification in the 2024 Giro d'Italia. Yes, Tadej Pogacar wins again up here at Prati di Tivo in the Apennine mountain range that runs up and down the spine of the boot of Italy. And right behind me, that's the Gran Sasso, the most fearsome mountain in this range. And well, that's appropriate because today we're talking about the most fearsome rider in cycling, none other than the Slovenian superstar who's already won 2 stages in this Grand Tour. Roll it back to stage 2 where he took the stage win and the pink jersey at Santuario d'Europa. Then the time trial just yesterday in Perugia, adding gobs of time and getting that last minute stage win over Filippo Ganna, a strong TT specialist. Now coming into today, he didn't have to do what he did, but he did it. We had a massive escape group forming, I think around 50 kilometers early into today's 150 kilometer stage race. In that move, American Magnus Sheffield made it after a strong TT ride yesterday, joined by Ineos Grenadiers teammate Jonathan Narvaez, already stage 1 winner and peak jersey wearer in this race. Other strong riders in that move, well, highest place on the GC, Romain Bardet, former Grand Tour great Nairo Quintana in the move as well, and Pierre Pentre of Decathlon AG2R Le Mondial. I mention him because he comes to play later on in today's race. 3 categorized climbs and many uncategorized climbs. As you know, if you've ever been to this region, we're in Abruzzo. The race started over in Umbria, crossing the mountain range of the Apennine, up and down in this mountain range to get here. It's a mountainous region. The riders were put to the test today in a short, compact stage. UAE put the hammer down. We saw what they were going for today, and they were going for blood. Tadej Pogacar is insatiable, hungry in this Giro d'Italia, always wanting more. Maybe it's not great for the race. Maybe the viewers, you at home, are getting a bit bored, but we love to see a rider out cannibalizing the race. And that's what Tadej's doing here at the Giro d'Italia. His first participation in the Giro d'Italia. He's excited, he's happy, and he wants to prove himself. Going from here, wanting to get the GC win here, and there's still 2 more weeks of racing left. Then going on to the Tour de France to try to win that, adding to 2020 and 2021. UAE put the hammer down, made sure he was within reach, and they did reach the last of the escapees. Pierre Pentre was on the attack, out of the escape group, out of the leaders group when they were just pulling him back. And then 10 kilometers to go, the leaders of the GC, the top men, were fighting for the stage victory. And at that point, Tadej Pogacar already burnt out Mikkel Berg, already burnt out Novak, the other big guys in the team, and it was up to Rafael Majka, Felix Groschagner, and then finally after Groschagner was gone, it was just Majka. But attention over to Team Ineos, who had a great time trial yesterday. Well, if we don't count Geraint Thomas, who some journalists did point out, Geraint, you didn't do a great time trial. But hey, Geraint is G, and he's cool, and he brushes it off his shoulders and keeps rolling on for another day, and that's what he did today. And without Magnus Sheffield and Narvaez, after they did their job in the escape, well, it was over to Tijnsman Rensman, who did well in the TT yesterday as well, doing his job for Geraint Thomas, really pulling things together to give G a chance at stage victory, or at least stamp his dominance in the GC classification, starting the day 3rd overall behind 2nd overall. Danny Martínez and Tadej Pogacar just ruling everything. 2:40 at the start of the day. What we saw out there was great teamwork by Ineos Grenadiers, because what happened when things were brought back together, there were a small group, it was down to 10 riders or so, and in that move, only 2 teams had multiple riders. That was Tadej with Majka and Thomas with a Rensman. We saw at one point Ben O'Connor's Superbach had a teammate, it looked like Pierre Pentre, but I think he was just holding on for dear life after being caught by the main group, and he was soon jettisoned. But Ben O'Connor was doing his job, riding well after that TT yesterday, showing strong in the race. Tiberi, watch out for him. Antonio Tiberi, always out to shoot, and fire off to get something for the day, Tiberi. And he was firing for the white jersey, which was up for grabs because Luke Plapp was gone from the group with the white jersey on his shoulders. In theory, it'd go back over to Kian Uterbrooks, and in fact, at the end of the day, it did, but Tiberi was going to have a say in that white jersey battle, a battle that we'll keep an eye on to see how close that is, and also 2nd and 3rd place in the classification. Coming into the final, we saw Tiberi attack, 1.7 kilometers to go. Then Arensman ramped it up again after they caught Tiberi. Majka was distanced, Arensman was going, but then there was a hesitation. We saw Majka come back. Majka went right to the front. Majka let it out, and Tadej Pogacar, wow, mamma mia, as they say here in Italy, wins again, launched himself. Second behind him was Martínez. Third on the day, Superbach, Ben O'Connor. So they picked up 10, 6, and 4 bonus seconds, and there was a slight gap to fourth place with Tiberi leading across the line. Thomas in there, 2 seconds back for those guys. So in addition to those bonus seconds, they also lost 2 seconds. So now if you're looking at the GC, well, that's going to change up as well. It's Pogacar on top, 240 back to Danny Martínez, 258 to Geraint Thomas, Ben O'Connor, 239, Kian Utebrooks holding off Tiberi, 402, and Tiberi at 423. So if you're watching that white jersey battle, they're separated by only 21 seconds. But the big story of the day was that 240 gap that Tadej Pogacar has on Danny Martínez, and then Geraint Thomas back there in third. We had a heck of a battle today getting up here, 14 kilometers up to around 1,000 meters. Not that high, not as high as we're going to get later on in this race in the third week in the Alps. Up 7% average, I think it was, a maximum of 12% midway up the climb. So a great climb out here, and you'll remember seeing this climb in Tirreno Adriatico when Vincenzo Nibali won, when Chris Froome won, and yes, Tadej Pogacar recently in Tirreno Adriatico as well. He knew what he was getting into today, and he thanked Rafael Majka. We saw footage of that. They were happy, embracing each other at the finish line. We were over there with Geraint Thomas, and I asked Geraint Thomas, I said, hey, look, many are watching at home thinking, this race is over. Tadej can put it in cruise control and ride all the way to the Alps, and then that transfer, that crazy transfer down to Rome, and consider it done in his first Giro d'Italia, the pink jersey overall. Geraint Thomas said, hold on, hold on. The race is not over till it's over. And in fact, last year he was fighting Primož Roglič all the way to the penultimate day, that magnificent time trial. Granted, this year the gaps are much bigger, but anything and everything can happen in a grand tour. So don't give up on this battle yet. And this domination by UAE Team Emirates, it could fade potentially. And that sniffle by Tadej Pogacar, that's something we're going to keep an eye on as the race unfolds. We got Napoli tomorrow, then the first of 2 rest days. And remember, we still have 2 more weeks of racing in this Giro d'Italia. But as it is now, 3 stage wins for Tadej Pogacar. And today, up at Prati di Tivo, he stamps his name on the Giro d'Italia. King of the day, grand like Gran Sasso behind me. Tadej Pogacar, stage winner, stage 8 in the Giro.